Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another session of 8x Pixel Expo, the May series. So I'm Stephanie, and I'll be your host for this session. For today's session on monthly behavior, we are joined by Amos Nachum, an explorer and professional underwater photographer. I've also heard that it's birthday today, so happy birthday, Amos.
Thank you, everybody.
So before we begin, allow me to briefly introduce him. Amos Nachum is a wildlife photographer and has been an expedition leader for over 35 years. His images have appeared in over 500 magazines around the world. He has twice won in the Behaviour category of Wildlife Photographer of the Year, which is the world's largest and most prestigious wildlife photography competition. So without further ado, I'll pass the time over to Amos to begin his session on the behavior of the blue whale. So the floor is yours, Amos. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning or good day, everybody out there in the world. Talking to you from California, about half an hour or 40 minutes after midnight here. As Stephanie said, that's what my profession. I do it for 45 years, and filming or photographing underwater, leading expedition. And as a photographer, I particularly was looking for getting images of the animal that are more endangered, threatened, and have a wrong or their misconception about the animals. And tonight, or this morning, your time, I will concentrate on one particular animal that it is one of my biggest attraction, and it is the biggest attraction in the world, actually, on a dinosaur. A blue whale is a dinosaur. Let's go for the pictures. So the organization that I'm working with and to be able to run the expedition called Big Animals Expedition, it very clearly, and I do not work for National Geographic or BBC or any one of those organizations, because at the time when I started in 1980 or earlier, there is nobody believing that I can or anybody can be in peace or be able to find, in this case, the blue whale, to be able to dive with the blue whale. So I organize private expedition, usually with small group of people, either 2 people or 4 people the most, because in my understanding, if I'm a photographer and I try to preach conservation and preservation, I should also be caring about the animal and leave as least as possible footsteps or put pressure on the animal, least pressure as possible, and to bring good picture. Next one. So we all know that the planet is about over 70% water, and that's where I spend most of my time. Next. Exploration was always part of our background or our education or fascination. However, I could not be an astronaut. So rather to be astronaut, if that's how they look at the world from over 300 miles up in space, I decided to look deep under the blue surface. Next one. And that's how I started my career. You don't have to do the same thing, of course, but that's how I started. And I start with the next few images just to give you some background about me, so you know why, even to listen to me, why my word mean anything and the picture are leading to something meaningful. Next one, please. So the only tools I use, I have no guns and no scooters, and only the camera, and of course the big smile as you see on a picture. I shoot underwater, and next, and I shoot on top of the water. I'm practically, actually, even not a diver. I'm a photographer more than anything else. I see everything in color, I see everything in shape, and I have a desire, the ability to be in the wilderness in order to bring perhaps the interesting picture that I think there are, and luckily it happened through my career. Next one, please. What we're going to see next, it is a short statement. Next. is a short statement about the kind of picture we're going to look at. Because the picture, next, because the picture we're looking at is not in one time, it is a process. I'm looking at you, look at my hair as we talked earlier. Yes, I have many years of experience. So the images are taken throughout history of maybe 20 or 30 years, but there are very few pictures. Maybe I have only 20 or 25 images, but to bring you in particular focus and to understand and how you can tomorrow take from whatever you see that I did and take and do it even better. Next one. We're going to see now a short video, the trailer of the movie that made about my career. Okay.
Amos, to me, is one of the best ambassadors of the ocean. It takes huge amount of risks to bring those images which nobody else has ever been able to capture.
He comes back with images that no one can get. He is probably the best underwater still photographer in the world.
His story was always shrouded in mystery.
He doesn't have a normal life. He doesn't have children. He's married to the ocean.
He has this passion. He wants to be in the water, close to polar bear, swim with the biggest predator on Earth.
If the wind is too turbulent, we're not going to go there.
There's so many factors that can work against you.
All right, guys, we're taking off.
Amos and his team have only 5 days to find a polar bear and take the picture.
It's the one animal where humans are part of their food chain. People get eaten by polar bears.
He needs that adrenaline rush. He needs to be at the edge. And if he doesn't do it in one way, he'll do it in another way. And maybe his military background has part to do with it.
What happened to Amos in the army is a mystery to me. He didn't come home, really.
I can see blue sky compared to see flames.
I wonder if there is some kind of unfinished business with the polar bear.
Believing in yourself and go all the way through it, no matter what obstacle. And this is all the power of big.
Amos wants to prove that those large animals aren't our enemies, and that we can live with them in harmony.
Next, please. So, as I mentioned earlier, we focus on the animal on the subject, and this particular is actually a dinosaur. A blue whale could not live during the dinosaur period. But after the dinosaur disappeared from our planet, the blue whale could survive and remain till today. They are the largest animal ever lived. Although there may be indication that there are dinosaurs that some of them, one or two, have been bigger than 100 feet or 32 meters. But right now, it is still considered the largest living animal, and that's why that is also a modern dinosaur live in our ocean. Images that you see here are this image in particular was taken by design. I designed that, being on a plane in a radio with the boat, to be able to have one picture that illustrates really how big is this animal. And if you see the boat is about 30 feet, you can see how many times it fit along the size of this blue whale off the coast of California. Next. Every trip, it is a complex logistics. In this case, I usually go on a scouting plane, and which I bring the scouting plane into the trip, and I usually go about a day or two before to make sure indeed to have an indication or clear indication where are the well. In this case, I'm off San Diego, looking at the island by the border with Mexico, and looking at based on the migration of the blues. The blue are migrating around July, August, September from Mexico, coming around Cabo San Lucas, goes along the coast of Baja and up north toward Canada and Alaska. In this case, we are here by the Coronado Island of San Diego. Next. Here is a picture again, the scouting plane above our head. And this is the team that we go out. In this case, there are only 4 guests, two on the right and 2 on the left. The rest of the guys are just the paddler of the kayak. And I'll explain in a moment how we use the kayaks. Next, please. And of course, when you have a scouting plane up in the air, in touch with with radio, with the boat, no matter how big are the blue whale, in the ocean, they are very, very small. So that's why I use the scouting plane to find out where are they in a big ocean, so we can come with the boat and then with the kayak. Next. And here is how we launch the kayak. There is the person without the shirt and the back is the kayaker that pull the kayak for you. If you are the photographer, you sit up front where this lady with the long fin. And why I use the kayak? Blue whale are the most shy whale of all the cetacean that I know. They will not they hardly ever pay attention to us in the water with them. They just keep moving. Or if they're feeding or slow moving, because during the migration, if they feel easier to move. They are cetacean, that means they are sensitive to sound. So as soon as we see the blue whale from a distance, or the plane tell us that the blue whale are a mile or 2 or 3 away from us, we stop the boat, shut off the engine, and slide 3 or 4 kayak to the water. One person in a kayak, 1 kayaker behind, and with the kayak we spread over the ocean, because in this case of California, the blue whale had to come north, and we spread over and waiting for them to come toward us. Next. And as you see here, the kayak coming very close to 2 whales, one in front of the other, and look how big is the one that just in the front. And that's a picture of me, by the way. I'm sitting by one of my customers taking a picture of me sitting here on the front, and hopefully to get in the water with the blue whale. As soon as the blue whale come very close to the kayak, I can slide in and come back to the kayak after this. Next, all on snorkeling, of course. And that's one of the picture. This is not from Baja or from Mexico. This is from Sri Lanka, which is another location of good. There used to be good encounter with the blue whales. Next. This is back in San Diego that I was able to get. Actually, I even was not in the water. The blue whale just came by. As I mentioned, as we put the vessel, the kayak aiming south, and the blue whale coming north, the blue whale just came by the side of the kayak. So because the kayak is so quiet, does not make any noise, and we were not in the water even, I could just put my camera in the water with a fisheye lens and be able to get a picture. The idea in wildlife photography is about patience and passion, of course. And then eventually you're able to get those kind of outstanding images or outstanding moments, not just images for competition or for magazine, but outstanding connection that help us as human to understand that we are part of the ocean, a part of this world. Each one of us has a part of it, and the same thing with the animal. And we all have right to exist. Next. And that's a picture taken of me swimming with the blue whale of Sri Lanka. And again, you see the size of the person, and I am maybe 5'7", 5'8", 1.70 m, 1.72 m, but the blue whale, look at the size of it. It is just the moment. When I look at the picture, the moment, all the effort that it takes to fly all the way from the United States to Sri Lanka, be there for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and to be able to have this kind of moment, it was everything else. Unfortunately, blue whale are not doing very well. The numbers are not very well. Used to be on a planet over 300,000 blue whale. Today, this is in the earlier 1900. Today, estimated between 15 to 17,000 blue whale only as a result of hunting and result of collision with large vessel. And we talk about it in the end. We'll show you some images of that. Next, please. It is magnificent animal. If you look at it, you'll see how perfectly it's designed to be in the water, how effortlessly it moves through the water. It is like the best water design or aquatically designed animal with less resistance, moving a body of 180 tons gliding through the water. And mind you, there is no animal in this size or this weight can live on a planet. It will crash because of gravity, but it can live only in the water. So if we talk about dinosaur that will be bigger than a blue whale, it must be an animal that used to live in the water. Next. And again, the moment that he come by your side, the moment he crossed in the front of my camera, I cannot speak enough of it, but indeed, it took a lot of effort and time to be able to reach to this moment. We have to be in it in order to enjoy it or to win it, as you call it. Next. And this is one of those rare moments that I had the opportunity to photograph it when the blue whale were feeding. And what's happened is every time they open the jaws and they feed, it was off California on the red algae, and every time they open the jaws and swallow is about 4 tons of red algae with water are into this belly, into this expansion. Next, please. And able to get also a close-up. Again, all on free diving, and to be able to, the more we do that, the better we are, and the quieter we are. And the idea is to be quiet, not to be extra working very hard, because then the animal pick it up, especially the blue whale, and they shy away. To be as gliding as possible, breathing in control, to be able to glide so close and look at the eyes of the blue whale. Next. Luckily enough, again in Sri Lanka, this one, we were able to photograph and to see the blue whale sleeping. And that is a phenomena. And that's only due again to the fact that working with 2 or 4 people the most, able to put only 2 people in the water, and quietly able to reach to an animal that was resting on a surface. Like all cetacean and blue whale as well, when they rest, half a brain is asleep, half a brain is awake, to protect themselves. So in this case, we only stayed on the surface. We were not even diving, and we just stayed in one place. Both of us just moved face to face for about 2 or 3 minutes before we took off and let the whale stay asleep and avoid from waking it up. Next, please. This is of Baja California. Blue whale getting to Baja California, especially between November till March, and March they start leaving. They're coming into Baja, especially visibility there is very poor, relatively, because rich in plankton. So they come there to feed, to give birth, and for socializing. They leave Baja, they're going around Cabo San Lucas and coming out along the west coast, along the west side of Baja, along the Pacific, and goes along the coast on the way to California, Washington, and then Canada and Alaska to feed. In Sri Lanka, it's very interesting. The blue whale not move south and north and south. They'll move east and west. They start from Djibouti, moving toward along Oman and on the way to Sri Lanka. They stay there for a short time and then go back. And they believe that some of them staying around Sri Lanka. There is 2 other places for blue whale, which I'm exploring now. One of them, the next May, if anybody interested to join on a trip, next May, I'm going under permit to the island of the Azores of Portugal. And in October this year, in November, I'm going and leading a group, actually 3 groups of only 4 people to Timor-Leste. There are still 1 or 2 spaces open if anybody interested. But those are the key 4 places in the world that I know that I figured out, I researched, and I also scouted already and be able to run safe operation. Unfortunately, it is not operational anymore along the coast of California because the increasing number of whale-watching boats, which really move much faster than a kayak, and then they push the whale away. So this is out of the chart right now. But Sri Lanka is possible, Azores is possible, only under permit is complicated, and also to Timor-Leste. Next, please. And that's a picture that I love the most, and a picture that fortunately won several competitions. It is showing again a sleeping blue whale. In this case, the blue whale sleeping in Baja California. The blue whale was resting on a surface. We came with a boat with a panga alongside on the engine. When I saw it, I asked the skipper to stop and then to pull back and to move behind the tail in order to be able to get the shape of the tail along the island. And this animal was about 80 foot in length. It's just mind-boggling to think that something like that can float and sleep on the surface. Next, please. And here again, the picture of the kayakers. And you see there are four guests and 2 crew members on different boats. And that is how we go out, how I used to go out in California, facing the blue whale coming north and we coming south toward them. Next, please. The number 1 enemy of the blue whale today is collision with the big ships. And the reason being that the migration route of the blue whale, actually, let's take it back. The international shipping lane along the coast of Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Sri Lanka is the same place where the migration of the blue whale. The same thing along the coast of Baja California and California. The shipping lane, international shipping lane, is along the same coastline or the same depth line that the blue whale migrate. And that is the number 1. The same thing also in Iceland, the same thing also along the coast of Portugal in the Azores, is along the shipping lane. And there is continued struggle and continued effort by Mission Blue and by Sea Shepherd and by myself, working with government setup, especially in the marine related, and to move the shipping lane during period time of the year, other 2 or 3 months of the year, to move the shipping lane farther deep in the water to allow the blue whale pass by. Let's see what happened next. This is of Sri Lanka. And the next next picture, share with you the fact, not just a story. This blue whale got hit, and as you see, is laying on its side. It got hit by the tail, and you see the tail falling down. Next, please. And now you can see the diver, as in the fact of the blue whale laying totally on his side, and that's the reason. As a result of collision with the shipping lane and the migration route of the natural migration route of the blue whale. Next, please. With this, I will say, let's leave the blue whale. Come visit them. Come see them. Enjoy them. However, and we'll leave them in peace and let them continue grow. Unfortunately, a female blue whale will bring a calf only 3 times most in her life, and she will be able to get pregnant only when she's 11 years old, and the calf will stay with the mother for about 2 or 3 years before it leave apart and they continue. Usually blue whale are solitaire. Next, please. If you want to see the whole movie that I showed you, the video, the trailer, the name of the movie is A Picture of His Life.com/big animals. It is on my website, and you have to just Picture of His Life.com/big animals, and you'll be able to get access to the movie. Next, please. If you want to see more of my work, you look at biganimals.com on the website, or amosphotography.com. By the way, the movie available from today, which is my birthday, I put it online for the next 4 days, is free of charge. If you send me an email, amos@biganimal.com or info@biganimals.com, I'll be able to send you the link to this particular effort I'm making together with an organization called Seakeepers. And I offer the movie for free for anybody who wants to watch it, and a possibility to raise some money as my present during my birthday for Seakeeper, and the money they receive, they use for conservation and for education purpose for kids, learning about how to protect the ocean and how to preserve the environment for future generation. Next, please. That's the end for the meeting tonight. My presentation, and if anybody have question, I'm happy to stay here with you and listen to your feedback.
Okay, Amos, thank you so much for such an insightful presentation. I thought it was really fascinating to hear about your experiences involved in photographing the blue whale. Like, I can't imagine how amazing it must have been to see those gentle giants up close in person. Yes,
like everything else, it's close in person is the best when we have passion, patience, and respect to the environment.
Yeah, so it seems like we don't have any questions from the audience for now. But for our viewers, if you do actually want to ask a question, just feel free to drop them on our Facebook page, and we'll try our best to answer them. Also, a gentle reminder that our ADEX show will be from 16th to 18th September at the Sands Expo Convention Center. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you guys so much for attending, and stay tuned for our next session at 4:30, where Gillian Morris will be talking about the importance of shark education. So that's the end of this session. Thank you so much again, Amos.
Thank you too, and best regard to Alphonse and to John Ted.
Okay, see you all soon then. Bye-bye.
Bye now.